1 month later, it was February. Wow. I never thought about that. But can you believe after January there is February? Whatever. A thing that I never imagined I could consider doing, I was now considering doing. Because Yone didn't seem to act coldly after Christmas, and accepted my work proposal. All that I had experienced with her was instantly a background between us, when we discussed something. For instance, we were talking about a certain aspect of a certain man's philosophy, but while talking, I could feel all the things. I talked to Yone, and I talked to the Yone I already knew a little. I talked to the Yone I gave the snowman, to the Yone I danced with, and to the Yone I could talk forever in the bus with. It was not somebody anonymous anymore, it was someone I felt really good with, a friend maybe. It was always hard to describe because the feelings are so different that the general words our vocabulary uses cannot express the exact shade, the real feeling. But that was what I felt, and I felt close with her. It was a week to go before it was here, Love's Day, and I had to be insane or something, but I was really considering giving Yone a Love's Day note. That was going to kill me. It was more suicidal than Mori's note for Kotone. In fact, there was nothing as stupid as the thing I was thinking of doing. When I imagined how I'd feel when I would leave the note, or worse, what would happen the day after. Maybe in the philosophy lesson, it could all be gone. And I would feel so embarrassed that it was going to kill me. For sure. How could I even think about a thing like that? No. This was crazy. I took a deep breath. This being with my name, was thinking about writing a love note for my teacher. But not any love note. A real one. No hearts and no things to show I like her, but a real note, for the woman I loved, for Yone, where I would confess. What a stupid idea! A year ago, I was having a good time laughing at stupid Mori for writing a letter, but now, I was going to do a thing that was even more tactically wrong and could ruin everything. On the other hand, maybe I had to do it. Eventually there would be no way around it. I would have to express what I feel for Yone sooner or later. She would have to decide then. It could well change her whole life, if not ruin it. Being intimate with a student could cost her job, and would definitely cost her job, if someone would find out. Not to mention, how would she explain all this to, well, anyone? My parents would not understand it, and probably would think that I was crazy and Yone a twisted sex-driven person, to put it mildly. I would have less problems, although even for me, it could be hard. But Yone would be definitely looked down upon. Maybe she'd even lose her friends, if she had any, and whoever she would tell would abandon her. Maybe later, when I was at least 25 again, it would be okay. But imagining she would tell someone when we first met, she would seem like a pedophile, who in her 30s likes to seduce boys half her age. I saw no way for us to be together. Wouldn't it be better to just let Yone be? I would ruin her life. Could I really live with it? If I loved her like I said I did, wouldn't it be truly an act of love if I didn't push it and destroy her normal world? But what about her? If she liked me, loved me, wasn't it really enough to stay together? Would eventually all the pain from the pressure of the people around her be more than her love for me? Or maybe, why couldn't she ruin her life? Maybe our relationship would last a few years, then we would break apart, and even if she knew we would break apart, was that a good reason not to be with me? And if anyone knew how hard I followed my objective, would they be right if they said I was too selfish and didn't think how much pain the whole affair would end in? Did I have to be not selfish? I loved her and I wanted her. Isn't that good enough for a reason? Does it have to be a mixture of love and other things like circumstances, hometown, or the job? It is crazy actually. So, if you, for instance, love a person, but loving and making the relationship was difficult, was that a reason to unlove yourself? Stop seeing that person for their own good. I would show respect, wisdom, and just about everything good. I would be looked upon as the man who truly loved his girl. Loved her so much that he wanted her to have a happy life, because the love between us just would be too much trouble and would be end anyway. But even if I knew that our love would end sometime, if I knew for sure, was that really a reason to stop it? What kind of love is it when someone can end it? After such a breakup, one is sad, and later life goes on. Except the love will stay in him, and he will always be sorry, but he will also know that there was no other way. It sounds really stupid, because there was a way. He could just stay with her. Maybe they'd have both of their lives ruined. At that time, when they would be together, I believe that even though it couldn't ever make up for all the pain that awaited them, it would still be a reason. Does it really have to pay off with the relationship? Or is a relationship something like love plus more elements? It is so, but why should I ultimately want a relationship? Love, the greatest feeling of them all. As everyone around talks about it, that love would not be enough. I have seen so many people who gave up love in order to live their lives normally, maybe easier. Sometimes they found a different person they loved, and that was it. Maybe that was really it. Maybe love was expandable, because it was a fact that you could love more people, not only one. It made perfect sense, of course. One person would maybe fall in love again, like me, after my breakup with Akane. Maybe someone loved two people simultaneously. I have never really experienced it, but the time when Kotone came to me and asked me to dance, after that, I sort of felt something for both of them, Miori and Kotone. And there was no interference. It wasn't like it was impossible for me to love someone else when I already loved someone. Because of this, I often wondered whether the term love is not vastly overrated. All the songs written but hormone-flooded brains. Or was it because everyone needed this ultimate element in the word love? No one ever experienced this true love, because no one can say that they always loved only one person. And indeed, if they have, then still, there was no way they didn't think someone was pretty, or never looked after girl. That looking after girl was not love for that girl, naturally, but why would someone look after a girl when he already felt the ultimate love? And even if there really were just one man and one woman, there is no guarantee that if they lived in a society with other people around, they would not react to them positively. It was so clear that it scared me. What if there is only liking, not loving? It would make perfect sense then. You could maybe absolutely like someone, but that in itself never means that when you absolutely like, you cannot like someone else, or you cannot ever change your mind. Love, as I understood from all around me, is something that final in that respect. Is something final in that respect. The people needed something to look up to, a value maybe. I am hardly a psychologist, and to be honest, I don't really care why. Normally I would maybe analyze what true love could be and then see if anyone could achieve it. But now I realize that I would not have the word love to analyze, because everything titled love in one or the other form, like true love, first love, summer love, would in fact be liking. I could not see it for very long, maybe because I grew up with that word. And then my mind came to a conclusion, which changed everything for me. There is no love. Love's Day was nearing and my determination was growing. During these days I found a way back to Mori. Ever since the Christmas holidays, when I was not invited to the parties, I hardly even talked to anyone for a longer time. I just went to school, my mind only on Yone, I guess. Mori was also felt neglected by the book readers, and very soon he got all bored, even though they invited him. We reinstated our break rounds, and sometimes even talked a little personal. Mori was once again the unfortunate one, because he really started to like Kumi at the parties. When all the others were busy discussing higher meanings, he noticed Kumi also felt strange. It just wasn't her environment. Often they would end up talking. Mori really needed me, I noticed. He didn't have anyone as close as I was and was happy to get a burden off his shoulders. And even though I thought I was strong and didn't have to tell anyone about my love affairs, just was too weak. I told him about Yone. Of course, disguised as a girl I always met at the bus stop. I had to make that up, and I also told him that I was thinking about talking to her on Love's Day and ask either of her for her phone number or give her mine. It was stupid, but Mori bought it all. I never wanted to lie to Mori, but this thing, I couldn't tell him about Yone. Mori really was unfortunate because he already had some experience with Love's Day. I was hardly able to prevent the catastrophe with Kotone. This time, I wasn't going to stop him. Although I had a few thoughts about Kumi. Kumi liked me quite a lot, and it was very clear to me that way she acted when she was with me. Maybe she only talked with Mori and in reality wanted to find out more about me. I don't know, maybe that was thinking too much of myself. I would like it to be true for Mori, that Kumi would not like me that much. Otherwise Mori would have a problem, and I didn't like the prospect of maybe Kumi telling him she liked somebody else, me. Maybe it should leave a note for me. Mori would then find out. I would tell him, but it would be a terrible situation for me. Better not. Even though I liked Kumi, she was really nice. It made us friends again. Maybe more than ever. Without 1 week to go, we were both in the same situation. We analyzed who had the easiest position, but our situations were so different, one could hardly compare. Mori had the disadvantage that should Kumi not like him, he would still have to see her in class every day. And although it seemed like I could just ignore my bus girl, the fact was that it was Yone and she would still be my teacher. What should we write then? How to put the words and which words on paper? What is appropriate? What is too long and what is too short? What to write, that was the question. We completely forgot that we could still decide whether to even write to our girls. It was said then, we are going to go for it, that day, and by talking about it, we gave ourselves the courage needed to survive all the thoughts and doubts that came to our minds when we were alone. It was then time, Love's Day would arrive. I would meet my bus girl on the way back from school. I told Mori, I hoped she'd be there. Mori would go and give the note to Kumi himself, maybe after school. That suited me, because I had to actually go to Yone's office, which I also planned to do after school. We arranged all the necessary precautions, like getting rid of the classmates by staying behind, and as for Mori, he had to somehow make Kumi stay a little longer. I helped with that by asking her to wait until I was back to return her a book which I had to copy. Mori would then tell her I was gone, but he'd be alone with her. As for me, I had to keep this secret from Mori, that I was going to the teacher's office. I just hoped he would not be finished the same time as I would, and we would not meet at the front gate when going out. The school was out, everyone was quickly getting dressed. There were many people in the hallways now. I asked Kumi to wait and went away quickly. I knew Mori would wait until I had a chance to get out, but I was somewhere else. I continued to walk through the hallways to where Yone's office was. It was so horrible, I felt a terrible pressure on me. I barely was standing on my feet. I was cold and my hands were shaking already. Then I felt I must have a fever. I thought that my face is going to burn in a second. It was almost incomprehensible that in this state that I was going to go to Yone's office. And a clear thought of what I was about to do. It was so final, so irreversible. Nothing could be done anymore if I get this wrong or if Yone won't accept it. Then, finally, I reached the floor and the place. Yone's office. What was I doing? I came in front of the door. If I hesitated now, I would never do it. I had to do it. Or maybe I should turn around and go back. There was still time. It would be so easy. Just turn around and everything would be fine. No troubles. But then nothing would ever change. I knew that. My head was spinning and I could hardly see my surroundings. The door. I was standing in front of it. A simple knock. Just a knock. Why couldn't I do it? The longer I stood there, the worse it got. Someone might go along and see me. I turned around and looked at one of the announcement boards that were on the other side of the hall. This was bad. I was almost about to lose it all. But if I would go back now, I would have such a terrible feeling. I would change nothing. I would be in this terrible situation of not knowing anything, and I would just blame myself for that. If I would go back, the fever would not go away. Absolutely no relief from the tension would come, and only slowly it would normalize. I could picture myself in the bus with that feeling. It looked more horrible than it would be, but in fact, situation when I was already almost determined and was expecting something to happen, it really was the option I would have hated to take. I turned around once again. Miss Kamiyama. I had to knock on the door. Knock, knock. I had to knock. Why was it so hard? Why? Why couldn't I knock on the door? Once again, that horrible feeling seized me. It was clearly devastating me, and the more I would hesitate and find it off, the more I would battle it, the weaker it would make me. I feared I would collapse on the floor anytime. I stared at the door, with just the one word on my mind. Knock! Knock! I gathered all my strength, took a deep breath, and... nothing. This was terrible. I was so afraid I couldn't move. It was as if my body was frozen, incapable of movement. I knew it. I was too afraid, too scared to face the truth behind those doors. All my dreams would be shattered by one single reaction by that woman. I wouldn't be able to move on. I knew it. I was so helpless, so dependent on Yone. I realized it now. I didn't want to lose her, and if she were to reject me, I would not be able to live anymore. It would break me. Nothing could ever be the same for me. I was there, face to face with the answer I was expecting, with an answer that was there, waiting for me, but one that I feared to hear. But I couldn't go on like this anymore. I have reached the peak of what I could endure. This was now more torture than joy. The love for Yone, I had to know how she feels. It was so draining, and every time I had to reassure myself that my dream isn't just a wish I was living. All those times it took away my energy, and the longer it lasted, the more exhausted I was. And I was still standing there. Like an idiot, I was there and... I did it! I switched my thoughts off completely, without any thinking. I just did it. It was easy. Knock knock. I did it. I did it! And then it all came back. I had just knocked on her door. I didn't think, I just did it. The consequences could be so horrible. But by that time I was already something like prepared, full of adrenaline, ready to really do this. There was no way back. I just wanted to go and do it. I just wanted to do it now. No thinking, I was determined to do it. I wanted to do it. I waited for an audible sound from the inside, when Yone would come to open the door, and I would do it. Knock knock. I had to knock a second time, because there was no response. But how could that be? The tension grew within me. Please, she should open the door, please! Please, Yone! What was I doing in there? This was no good. My thoughts were coming back, this was really bad. I needed the rush that clouded my mind, but now the reality was slowly catching up with me. I was there. I had knocked on her door twice. I really knocked on her door. I started to realize the full extent of the situation. What was I doing? She will open any second and I didn't need the frightened and weak me. But it overwhelmed me. I got scared. I knocked a third time. Now I knocked because I wanted to make sure she wasn't there. If I would go away, she could open the door, and that would have been the most terrible thing. She would ask what I wanted. But what if she was there? I imagined how I would give her the note. She would refuse me. There really was such a possibility. Right, you could knock so many times. Why don't you just try to open the door? Why didn't I think of it? What if she'd refuse it? What would I do? I'd probably panic and ask why. But that would have no sense. She's a teacher. Of course I thought about it. Of course I did. My god, it could really end up like that. She could just tell me she couldn't accept it. How would everything be? How would philosophy be? And just how stupid was it to give her a note? It was good. It was very good that she didn't open. Nothing. She wasn't there. I turned around, completely exhausted, but feeling that the tension was going away by the second. As I walked... Okay. As I walked through the school, I felt my strength come back. The feverish feeling was almost gone. I took a deep breath. Even though there was something unfinished inside me, it was much better now. I did it all I could. This was a good situation. No solution, of course, but better than before. For how long, I didn't know, but the scare I experienced would restrain me from having to attempt such an action again. Yeah, I think I had to do it, because I have made the situation so urgent in my mind that I needed in some way to solve it. And maybe it wasn't that urgent. The most important thing was that I didn't have any regrets because I actually tried and all I could. This was good. I just had to keep an eye on the possible encounter with Mori. No sign of him. I left the school unseen. The news was not good. Kumi told Mori they could be just friends. It would take months for Mori to be able to feel normally with Kumi around. And I felt I was responsible because it was me who came out clean of my situation, whereas he was in trouble with all the consequences. I just hoped Mori wouldn't hate me for that.